wanna cry.
Welcome to 2022. Broadcast number 1 on the year gives us a GT1 field poised to tackle the ever-fast and challenging Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Hello and welcome to PitStop TV. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, JP Costa, alongside this evening for coverage of the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Challenge. And these guys left off, JP, they left off in 2021 with the brand new scan of Watkins Glen, brand new curbing and runoff, and they return in 2022 with one of the older scans left on the surface. It is the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It was scanned way back a little over a decade ago. I want to say 14 years ago, thereabouts, about 2007 sounds right, and it has held the same just about in the iRacing.com sim ever since, and here's a look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. They came from what I would suppose is an easier circuit, and then they come to one of the hardest circuits, I feel, to tackle on any sort of car. You know, this track is so challenging on its own. and it's gonna be a real show because we talked this plenty on this series about how this series is supposed to improve the drivers, improve their skills on road racing, and this track is really gonna show with its challenging nature, ups and downs. As we can see from the track map, you go down into turn one. Obviously, we don't have the elevation changes, but if you've driven around here, you just know it. Turn one, you're already going a little bit downhill, then you go a slight uphill, and then you go through turns 2 and 2A, a complete downhill braking zone, so it's really easy to lose the car. We saw a few spins in practice. Turn 3, you go a bit up, and then turn 4, and then Andrew, we go to one of the most exciting parts of the corner, the sequence, turn 5, A, B, C, Moss corner. Just so difficult to get the car slowed down, getting the perfect line through it every single time. And this is going to be a real challenge for these guys. And then we go to the Mario Andretti straightaway with 2 slight corners. And then we go to the S's, turns 8, 9, and 10 for around Canadian Tire. As you mentioned, one of the older skins that we have on iRacing, but still one of the best in my opinion.
Yeah, Motorsport is a fantastic little racetrack here in Bowmanville, Ontario. You kind of hit on a lot of those great points. Turn 1 is downhill, turn 2, Clayton Corner. You don't really use a whole lot of turn numbers here, usually describing the course. Of course, turn 1, I think, is just standard across most courses in the world, but Clayton Corner takes it downhill to Quebec Corner, and that will take you around. Now, turn 4 does get used. That is turn 4. There isn't really much else to call it, but that drops you down into the hairpin that we look at now of Moss Corner, and that Mario Andretti straightaway, it almost races like corner just because of the undulations, the elevation change, and the slight bends. It can certainly catch a driver or two sleeping maybe as you draft all the way down to the S's and wrap up the quarter through White's Corner. This is just a fantastic racetrack. So fast, so brutal, honestly, and you can see some of the lap times there on the left. Granted, Formula 1 has not been here in a long, long time. Mario Andretti did set the fastest Formula 1 lap time here ever in the 1977 Lotus 78, but that's how fast they were going even in the 1970s. 1 minute 11 around here. Now, these guys, they're a little slower than that in these GT1 cars. They fit right about where that GT3 GT World Challenge time checks in for Johnny O'Connell, a 1:15.2. They're going to be around that, maybe a little bit faster in these GT1 cars today. Let's take a look at the GT1 cars that we've got to look at here today. Let's get that up. There we go. There's a lot to talk about, I think, with each car. Most notably, just the ever so slightest horsepower edge for the Aston Martin, even though the Corvette has the larger motor, 7 liters versus 6.
Yeah, exactly. Something we touch upon each and every single round, but it's always good to come back to it because, as you mentioned, the Aston has a larger engine, obviously a V12, although a small displacement of 6 liters, 10 more horsepower, but it lacks quite a bit, Andrew, on when we talk about torque, 479.4 pound-feet of torque when you compare to the 640 for the Corvette. Somehow, the Aston Martin is the heavier car. It weighs around 79 pounds or 1,100 kilos when you compare it to nearly 1,100 kilos for the Corvette. So 70 kilos difference, quite a little bit. And then obviously the wheelbase, we talked that a lot. The Aston is longer on the wheelbase than the Corvette, so that may have been one of the reasons that it has an edge of the Corvette that we've seen throughout the season. But I mean, it's interesting that they kind of balance itself out even with all of these differences.
Yeah, the Aston has just been the most stable car of these two all season long. It seems to be the car of choice for the most part, but there are still their fair share of Corvette drivers in this series, as we'll see this evening. Even some more of them joining, and I feel like that torque difference really helps the Aston. It's just more efficient in putting that power down, even with the heavier chassis as a whole. It just puts that power down in a nice way that is nicely controllable. Point standings. We have a look at them here. Steve Singer comes in with just a 10-point lead over Mark Truxell. Brian Rose, interestingly enough here, JP, is in the top 3 conversation and has passed up Andrew Locke as of recent, and Cody Harder, top 5 there. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here just within the top 5 in points.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these drivers, obviously, they have been on a good streak. Singer, obviously, leading the championship. Truxell just 10 points behind, but Brian Rose, he's doing a fantastic job. Obviously, 24 points behind that could be considered a bit of a gap, but, we're halfway through. If he keeps up the consistency that he's showing, he might be a genuine title contender because, as we mentioned, Andrew, we've had tons and tons of championship where, even a driver who has a winless season somehow won the championships just due to consistency. So just being the fastest driver around, one course or the other, winning 3 races in a row, and then not having a good result for the remainder, like the 7 other races, that's not going to win you the championship. Consistency will. And Brian Rose is doing exactly that. Obviously, Cody Harger as well, 41 points behind, kind of close in on Andrew Locke, just 9 points behind. But I mean, they're all still, everything is still to play for. We're only 5 rounds in, and now we entered the second half of the championship. Things are going to get a lot more interesting.
And Locke grabbed that win at Watkins Glen, if memory serves me correct. You do see some new names here on the listing, especially in positions 17 and 18. David Levine and Timothy George. He's going to give me hell for that one. Timothy George, they're in position number 18. We have a couple of new drivers on the track as well. We'll get to that here in just a few moments. Let's take a look quickly at the schedule for this series. You can see each track that we're listed to go to throughout the course of the season. Beginning, of course, all the way back at Daytona for round number 1 in October, through Barber, Lime Rock, Mid-Ohio, Watkins Glen, and now we come to Canadian Tire as this field gets ready to grid up.
Yeah, now we get to, I guess, the interesting part of the championship. Obviously, in the second part right now, we're at Canadian Tire. That's going to be a tricky track. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, that's going to be a fun one as well. Obviously, Formula 1 goes there. We haven't seen that race, of course, being used, in my opinion, for the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, Andrew. So it's going to be a good to come back to it. And obviously, Monza, the Temple of Speed, it's just going to be so amazing. These GT1 cars just driving flat out through the race course. Then we come to, I guess, 2 of the most difficult racetracks, as you could say. Laguna Seca, it's definitely a track that I'm pretty sure each and every single driver is familiar with it. Doesn't mean it's easy. And obviously Sonoma is just going to be so amazing because, like this one, it's full of undulation changes.
Yeah, the back half of the schedule is structured pretty interestingly. Of course, you see round 6 and 7, both Canadian rounds, and then you have the trip over to Italy before we finish the season off in California, in Monterey and Sonoma, both pretty close to each other as well. So just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Laguna Seca to Sonoma. Very interesting how they structure the back end of the schedule, but I like it a lot. You have the kind of mix around the East Coast with Florida, Alabama, Connecticut, maybe a little, Midwest, obviously with Ohio for Mid-Ohio, and then right back up to New York before this kind of swing for the back end of the season. It's a whole lot of fun though, and yeah, certainly I think a pretty solid schedule overall. 10 races on the season, 10 drivers this evening for Canadian Tire. Let's take a look through your starting grid for round number 6 of the Scar Grid Sports Car Challenge. On pole, it is the number 6 of Steve Singer. Brian Rose will start from second place. Starting third this evening, JP, it's going to be the number 59 of David Levine with his teammate Timothy George alongside in the number 69. And to cap off the top half of the field, it is none other than Andrew Locke. No, sorry, that is Brandon Webb. Andrew Locke will go to the back of the field for his win at Watkins Glen.
Exactly, and starting off road number 4, English nearly slipped out. In 7th place, we're going to have Sean Hawkins in the number 63 and the number 33 of Will Hewitt in 8th place. And the final few drivers to round off our grid in 9th place, we're going to have Mark Truxell in the number 5 and the number 15 of Vincent Short.
You see a lot more Corvettes in this lineup than I actually would have imagined. Looks like we're about 50-50 this week. That is, if Sean Hawkins can get into the grid. Looks like he has not joined just yet. I know we had some connection issues earlier on in practice, so hopefully he can join us for today's race. We're expecting 37 laps of action through the course of 45 minutes here, and that will likely change just a little bit. We are going to have a halfway break just after minute 20 is completed, so do expect that number to change just a little bit as we get ready for, honestly, what I think is going to be one of the better races of the season. This place is just so fast, so I don't know, it's kind of in between. You can't really pass a whole lot here. You've got to really set somebody up and wait for a mistake, which I think makes it good.
Exactly. That just throws, I guess, another challenge for the drivers. That lack of, I guess, overtaking opportunities, even though it's very, very possible. But as you mentioned, the strategy might just be forcing someone into a mistake, just applying constant pressure and waiting for an opportunity for the driver to crack under that pressure, and then they just line themselves up. We saw plenty of moves happening. Turn 1, we just see drivers setting up, maybe even for turn 2. Obviously, I guess the most opportunistic place should be around Moss Corner. You just force the driver into a mistake there, and then you take them into the braking zone of the S's. But I mean, everything is possible with these guys. I'm expecting moves being done left, right, and center throughout the racetrack.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there about Moss Corner, but that is a dangerous place to pass as well. I mean, it's a hard braking zone, but it's a very difficult braking zone, downhill and then, well, really back uphill right at the end of the straightaway coming out of turn 4. So it's just very, very tricky to actually set up a quality pass there. You can go for dive bombs, and certainly if we have a nose-to-tail, side-by-side, door-to-door battle for the win, that might be where you make the move. But it also, if you chuck it in too hard, you could ruin your run down the Mario Andretti straight and really give the win up in turn 8. So you got to be very, very careful coming into this zone right here. Look at that. Straight downhill, and then you get the compression right back up.
Yeah, that's definitely the most difficult, I guess the most challenging part of the racetrack. We've seen, it's plenty of series being driven around here, plenty of race cars, and each and every single one of them, they suffer around it. Obviously, you can't really go flat out in turn 4. You sometimes just have to lift up the gas just to get the perfect line into Moss Corner, and then, well, just brake hard. Hopefully you don't lock up, because if you do lock up, you're going to take an interesting line through the grass, and then, just try to get the car slow down. You just, take the steering wheel, make it go straight so you can brake on a straight line, and then toss the car again into 5B and 5C. And, well, that's one of the most difficult corner in maybe even iRacing, I'd say.
Weather shouldn't be any kind of issue. You see a 78-degree morning in sim here. Very interesting that it's this warm in the morning up in Ontario this time of year, but we'll take it anyways, as I'm sure they would as well. As it looks like the iRacing.com Porsche pace car is going to distance itself from this field as we come around to begin the racing season, the racing year of 2022 here on PitStop TV. You can't believe I'm saying 2022. Green flag is out on turn 10. We're racing in Scar. Steve Singer is already off in the dirt. He's got problems. He's already crashed.
That's a terrible start for the pole leader, and obviously, that's going to be worse for his championship. He's the championship leader, and Brian Rose assumes the lead. So we talked about a driver possibly having a winning season. That might not be the case, albeit, we're still 44 minutes away, as we do have, looks like Timothy George as well with issues. Oh, that suspension is broken, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, that left rear is junk. Brian Rose going to emerge with the lead out of Moss Corner. David Levine's got problems. He's around at Moss Corner, at least in the dirt, goes wide, gets the car back on track, and is trying to get going. He might have also broken the left rear suspension. I think that car is disabled.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that car definitely. Yeah, look at it. It looks like the suspension has absolute yeah, you can see him trying to grab the car. The car just won't drive. And unfortunately, that's going to be another driver with problems. So we've already lap 1. We already have 3 cars down, just proving how difficult this racetrack can be.
Brian Rose takes away with the race lead. He will come around and lead this first lap. Let's go back and see if we can't find out what's just gone on in this first lap. Absolute mayhem, honestly. Well,
100%. I wasn't expecting.
Well,
Well, it looks like we're going to go with... I'd take Timothy, because I'm interested to see which...
We're going to start off with Steve Singer. He starts from pole here in the number 6, and he has problems in turn 1. This is headed down to that first corner, and I think just gets in too deep. Maybe? Yeah, he just went straight out of turn 1. Oh, my goodness.
Oh. I'm not pretty sure if he just, I guess, was way too optimistic under the gas pedal. You can see already Timothy... Oh, just losing. Oh, so did he get damage from that bump? Or did he hit the concrete barrier?
He got a lot of damage from the grass, that on the inside of Clayton's corner. We'll take one more look at it here. This should be a better look at it as well, as we'll watch from high above the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. This is coming out of turn 10 for the start. You see the Popple teammates up front, the D-Line Racing teammates in row 2. Timothy gets the jump. Tim takes the first corner. David falls back, and Tim just kind of backs himself into the corner almost. The rear end of the car comes around right there, and nice little spin. David misses it right there. That wasn't even the greatest look at it, but right there you can see where that access pavement is. That's what caught the nose of the 69, but out of all of that, that somehow disables the left rear, and he has the same problem that we saw David Levine have at the moment. You can see the left rear is compressed, that suspension has collapsed, he goes around there. What happens to David Levine is my question. Through turn 5, goes off into the wall. That's going to do it.
Yeah, just carrying way too much speed into Moss corner. We're probably not gonna. He's not gonna be the last driver to do that. I'm pretty sure. No, that's just an easy mistake to happen. I guess just misjudging the amount of fuel in the car. Just being way too optimistic on the first lap, and unfortunately for him, that's gonna cost him big. As well, he's joining George and Singer as well, with being the 3 drivers to be a lap down. And well, while that happened, look at the gap that Brian Rose already created, nearly 3 seconds on the first 2 laps.
There was just a pass in turn 5. It looks like ATVL being a little bit slow with us here right now, but Brandon Webb has just gone on by Will Hewitt. No, I think the other way around. I think Will Hewitt might have gone on by Brandon Webb, as Brandon Webb is now in 4th position. That said, seems like graphics wanted to be slow with us today. 40 minutes to go. We'll see if it decides to work in the next 41.
Well, only 4 minutes to go, but we can take just a few things away from this first few corners. As you can see, that's just the risk of turn 2, Andrew. Just how quickly things can change. If you just dip a wheel into that grass, that's going to be your race done and dusted. But a couple of things that we can do. Well, Locke already posted the fastest lap of the race. I was going to say, Brandon Rose was looking absolutely dominant. It is looking absolutely dominant on that first place. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any cautions, if Andrew Locke can, I guess, just respond to the pace of Brian Rose. Can just get past. As looks like Will Hewitt got past the 77, maybe around Moss Corner.
Oh, boy.
Oh!
David Levine and Brandon Webb with problems here. And unfortunately, it looks like Brandon Webb is stuck.
Yeah, that 77 looks like it was destroyed. Obviously, he's going to be taking his fast repair, but well, looks like Moss Corner got another victim already in lap 4.
Yeah, something like that, as those two teammates tangle. Brandon Webb, brand new to the series, teammates with David Levine. We were going to have Sean Hawkins in the field, and unfortunately it looks like for whatever reason he has not made the call to the grid or to the race today. So it looks like we will not have a number 63 joining us, but he is one of the other new additions to the series for the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Challenge. Brian Rose leading here just a few laps into today's race. This is round number 6, in case you're curious, in case you're just joining us potentially. And he's got a nice little lead over Mark Truxell currently as they work on through a couple of lap 1 issues, lap 2 issues, even lap 3 issues. As we saw the issue for Brandon Webb, we'll try and recap that here in just a few moments.
Yeah, as you mentioned, just Brian Rose doing absolutely everything he can. And at this moment in time, with the gap that he has absolutely no need to keep pushing, like qualifying. Just I guess the rule of the matter, just control the pace. Just keep posting consistent lap times, even if they might be slower than your fastest lap time. Just keep posting. His car looks absolutely composed and on rails at the time being. So I mean, he just is doing what he needs to do, and well, if he just keeps it up, he might just have a win in the bag. But we know, Andrew, we're a Canadian Tire. Nothing is guaranteed around here.
Nothing at all is guaranteed here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Mark Truxell, the gap back as we bring this back up, about 3 seconds or so. Andrew Locke is the next one back, about another 14 seconds behind. Let's see. Well, here's David Levine. Let's see if we can go back and get a look at what happened between he and Brandon Webb just a few moments ago. This might be a little challenging for us to pull up immediately, but we'll go for it. Well, here it is. So we're going to have a nice little run up to all of this. So it's going to happen the other end of the speedway, actually. This is through turn 10. And we get a chance to kind of see how this all develops. So Brandon Webb is out ahead of Will Hewitt right here and David Levine. So he had passed Will Hewitt and had gone on by that number 33 car. David Levine is that Corvette further behind with the gray nose, the red mirrors. What in the world happens?
Well, he may be just too far away to make contact. I'm pretty sure he may have just followed.
Yeah, I wonder if Brandon
mistake.
had a problem crash and David just kind of got sucked into it.
yeah, maybe just be target lock, you know, just keeping your eyes on the cars ahead and just repeating the mistake. We're gonna take exactly the look. We have kind of a premium view.
Watch that
As you
Corvette
can
ahead,
see,
orange back
yeah,
in.
he's just go. Oh, looks like everybody made a
three
mistake.
had
Oh, he
issues.
just. Yeah, his issue was kind of just avoiding the contact between everybody, and unfortunately, while applying power, his rear wheels were already on the grass. As you can see, the 77 having issues, probably again with the collapsed suspension, but David Levine kind of just avoided the contact, didn't really make a mistake on his own, apart from obviously the rejoin just kind of spinning the car.
Here's a better look at the number 77 of Brandon Webb. This is really odd. I mean, it looks like he just kind of backs it in, much like Timothy George, turn 2, lap 1. Kind of backs it in, maybe a little behind on the brake bias. No, he actually was in complete control until that wall hit, and that looks exactly like David Levine early in the race, where David hit the exact same wall and unfortunately completely collapsed. The left rear, they've all been left rear. None of them have been a right rear. It's always been the left rear with these guys. I don't get it.
Yeah, just somehow coincidence, I guess, just making everybody, unfortunately, making contact with the walls, with the left rear, and unfortunately for him, you could see, you know, the right wheels spinning, trying to get into traction, but, you know, at that point, there was absolutely nothing he could have done, and, you know, just carrying a bit too much speed, you know, that can happen on each and every single corner, as it just nearly happened right there, Andrew.
Well, this is a replay. Tim George has another issue coming up, and there it is! Lock up into Quebec corner, spins, and David with nowhere to go. They are not having a good outing. They are not having a good day whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, this race just might not be the best for some drivers, and unfortunately for David Levine, that might be his third incident, but I guess the second one, which he has absolutely no fault on it. So, just a bad day. Sometimes it just isn't your day, is it, Andrew?
Yeah, it's seeming that way for them right now for D-Line Racing. Just not a good time out here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We are just shy of 10 minutes into this race. In 5 more seconds, it'll be 10 minutes in officially. Brian Rose with the lead. Here's a look at his number 89. Mark Truxell, though, is closing. He's closed that gap in with all his replays and everything happening by about 2 seconds. This could be much like, was it Mid-Ohio, where he just kind of trucked along to a win. I mean, it just kept the car clean.
Yeah, absolutely. This could 100% be it. I was just looking at the gaps, and Andrew Locke as well. He just closed in 4 seconds on that gap as well. So, there we is that. Oh my God, that's another car into the grass. My heart skipped a bit. I thought it was Brandon Rose, but looks like, unfortunately, I'm not quite sure who it was. But that gap is shrinking. Brandon Rose, if he has any pace, he needs to use it now, because as soon as Mark Truxell gets close, he just might go for the win.
Work on through here. This is, well, I actually don't know which lap it is. We'll find that out in a moment. But Brian Rose still following along here. And I wonder, I actually don't know the procedure as far as Lucky Dogs. I would imagine admins will get these guys, at least as many of them, onto the lead lap as possible. I'm not entirely sure that Tim George will get back on the lead lap, but I'd imagine they're at least going to try to get him back on the lead lap.
Yeah, I would assume so. Obviously, the procedures could be similar to what F1 does, you know, just let the whole field go past. I'm still yet to confirm that if I can get any regulations, but it would be interesting to let the whole field pass and just give everybody, I guess, kind of a fair chance back on the lead lap. Obviously, some drivers might not really enjoy that if they have a nice buffer, but it would be definitely interesting.
I'll tell you what, they're not having the greatest time on the racetrack. I'm not having the greatest time in the production booth. We've got a nice little battle shaping up here. Steve Singer has caught Brandon Webb and is going to do something with him here in a moment, and David Levine is ahead. These are all 4 position. They're all 1 lap down, and frankly, if they want to save their race, I think maybe don't get into anything too crazy. Wait on the yellow that's coming up and just kind of ride in the line 1 lap down.
Yeah, exactly, but at this point, you know, we saw Steve Singer posting the fastest lap of the race. He's the fastest car. He's going to go for a move right down here. You can see just going down the inside, much more confidence in the number 77. Gets the move done before even the exit of the corner. So, well, that's a move that you can do, Andrew, without forcing another driver into a mistake. Now, he just has to get it slowed down from Moss corner. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Just getting absolutely composed at number 6. After a mistake on turn 1, he's already up to 6th place, albeit a lap down.
A look from high above, down at the number 6 car, now up into position number 6, chasing the number 59. Now, if we have a lucky dog situation, that does currently go to David Levine, which is why this battle is actually pretty important. As you can see, Webb had a look on the inside for 8, backs out, leaves that position up to Steve Singer at the moment. Maybe now the inside for 9. No, still way too far back for that number 77 Corvette. Kind of just got behind at the steering, I feel like. Kind of got crossed up with the way he looked at the apex for turn 8. Just kind of had him behind in his motions for turn 9.
Yeah,
oh, it's Singer!
Pretty much compromise. Oh, Singer does a mistake once again. Can he get the car saved? Yes, he can. Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure his heart skipped a beat just like mine did. Almost a carbon copy mistake of lap 1.
Yeah, just went right off the racetrack on lap 1. It almost looked like he had an issue with the wheel, to be entirely honest. The way the car suddenly went straight, at least earlier on in this race, that time was just a driver mistake. Got in there a bit deep and washed out on exit. These guys working now through Moss Corner. And again, David Levine has got all that nose damage. I'm surprised these guys haven't caught David a little bit sooner.
Yeah, David's doing a fantastic job. Looks like his race pace might be just a little bit better than his qualifying pace because he's doing a fantastic job, as you mentioned. I really did forget about that nose damage that after the collision with Timothy George, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, he's doing a fantastic job. Obviously, now Steve Singer is just catching him up. Both of them actually catching him up. So I'm not pretty sure if it's just a little bit of pressure or that damage. And maybe even tires are coming a little bit, you know, just on the worn out side. But if he can, the longer he can keep them behind, well, the better it is for him. Even if, well, we're, 5 minutes away from the competition caution. So things could really change out for David Levine right here if he can keep those drivers behind him.
And that yellow coming up will certainly affect how many laps we run today. We're on lap 12 of an expected 36 if we continued with this pace, which makes sense. We're working on a third of the way into this race. That will likely come down to about 33, maybe even 32, depending on how long the caution runs. The work down turn number 4. You're still watching the Lucky Dog battle here in the Scar Grid Sports Car Challenge. And, oh, David Levine off again. Do not hit that wall. These Corvettes are so fragile. Thankfully, that's a good little catch. Keeps it out of the barrier.
Yeah, that's a great little catch. I'm pretty sure he's going to be, well, he's going to be happy losing 2 positions instead of getting a loose suspension. At least I would be. But unfortunately for him, just carrying a tiny too much speed. You could see, Andrew, as soon as that left front wheel dipped into the grass, there was absolutely no catching that car up. So Steve Singer kind of got a free position. That's something we mentioned. Just force the driver ahead of you into a mistake. That's sometimes all you need to do to, you know, get the position. That's exactly what happened. As we're looking again into Brandon Rose, well, looks like the gap for second place increased a little bit. Now 2 seconds, but look at third place. Look at how much he's catching. Andrew Locke absolutely coming. Charges.
We got a problem.
Is that another suspension?
Yeah, that's a damaged left side. Will Hewitt is not going to make it back. He's in the little straightaway between Quebec Corner and turn 4. And he's already let the leader go on by and a couple others, and finally will take the tow. And just before the yellow as well, we're going to get a yellow here momentarily. Will Hewitt has definitely had some kind of issue. Let's see if we can go back and find out where. Well, this is kind of joining it while it's already in progress. Look at that.
Oh, wow, that's a big hit. Is that on the turn 1 exit? Turn on one entry exit?
Nope, that's Quebec Corner. If that had happened in turn 1 or 2, he would never have made it down the hill for Clayton Corner. Here's a look at turn 2, and this happens into Quebec Corner, just breaks on the grass.
Yeah, just dipped the wheel into the grass tonight. As you can see, just absolutely no saving it at that point. That suspension is going to be collapsed, and unfortunately, as you can see, just absolutely no way you can put the power down. The car is just going to be grinding to a halt, and unfortunately, it's going to be yet another driver with yet another left suspension, and you're pretty sure if we have a right suspension, I'm going to be playing the lottery because it looks like it's just going to be lefties this time out.
Yeah, just breaks in the grass right there. That's probably the first no-no of road racing, I'd say. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm surprised he made it as far down to turn 4 as he did. Already had a lot of right side damage as well. Glad that he was able to continue on at least to this point, but unfortunately he's not going to continue on any further, at least not with that car. He'll have to take a fast fix if he still has one in the bank. Wrapping up here, we're getting ready to take a yellow flag at some point. You know what? It's in 2 more minutes. I jumped the gun a little bit. So it's in 2 more minutes and about 28 seconds, 27 seconds, and we'll have a yellow flag. Here's a look at Brian Rose still leading, but not by a whole lot. Look at that gap.
Yeah, the gap from second place already shrunk down quite a bit. It was 2.1 as soon as we cut back to the replay. Now it's around 1.3. And the gap for third place as well. Andrew Lux is on an absolute charge. I mean, he's just flying at this moment. So he's obviously not going to be catching them in 2 minutes, I don't think. But as soon as that the yellow flag drops, and this grid bunches up once again, boy, oh boy, things are going to get a whole lot more interesting.
I wonder if Mark Truxell's even going to abuse the car at this point or just kind of roll up to Brian Rose. I think Mark's got the pace for this lead, but it's a matter of getting there and actually passing Brian Rose, and that's going to be a challenge. That said, they've got to execute on this pit stop, even though it looks like Andrew Lock maybe has a little bit of a moment here in turn 5, goes off in Mott's corner, maybe lost a little bit of time, and thankfully gets back on.
Yeah, this might just be a minor setback. Obviously, he has a huge buffer to 4th place right behind him, Steve Singer. Obviously, a lap down, so only 3 drivers on the lead lap. Andrew, that's quite impressive, I'd say. But, you know, these 3 have been on absolute charge. Andrew Locke, I'm pretty sure that might be his only mistake of the night.
One of, certainly, with where he had to start this race. I believe he ended up starting from the pit lane as well, so that doesn't help him at all. As we've got a nice little battle shaping up here between teammates to go into our halfway break. David Levine on Brandon Webb. This is for the 5th position. These are both 1 lap down drivers. Steve Singer is currently in the lucky dog spot if we end up with a lucky dog. These 2 battling just a little further back after Steve kind of went by them both. Levine looks to the left side and looks like pit caution lights are closed. So that means that we are expecting the yellow here in just a moment. The pits are closed.
And David Levine, absolutely, he has excellent pace as well. Remember when he saw that mistake? He let both Steve Singer and Brendan Webb pass him in. He's already catched up to the back of this number 77.
Brandon.
So, his pace is really good. Brendan's kind of feeling the pressure from his teammate. That's just going to be allowing David Levine to go down the inside. Can he hold? Well, the number 77 actually holds around the outside. He's going to be run off the road. Obviously, they're teammates, so the race is going to be a little bit lighter. But, oh, the number 77 somehow. Oh, no, it's not.
These guys are having fun.
Yeah, these 2 are having fun. Absolutely amazing race.
Oh, David!
Teammates.
Oh, that's race over for David. And right at the yellow guys. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's going to be heartbreaking.
Well, I dare say, as a professional racing driver, David knows what he did wrong there, and that car is going to take a while to get repaired and get back out there. Those were 2 teammates having fun right there. As the pace car already picks up race leader Brian Rose and will bring us to a slow. This is working down to Quebec corner, it looks like. This is still very early in the lap. The pace car was on it.
Yeah, pace car absolutely gun it somehow. I mean, this might be one of the first times where we see the pace car catching up this quickly. Normally, we have to go for a full lap before the leader, but, well, I guess props to them. So, yeah, you can see now the top 3 are going to be bunched up together, and Andrew, things are going to get interesting as soon as the green flag drops. Obviously, are they allowed to go on their pit stops under caution, or do they have to wait for green flag?
Oh yeah, as we've seen before, pit stops will take place under yellow, likely even for tires as well, because this is different from most road leagues that we have, where it goes green the entire race, and they take the pit stop at halfway and just get fuel only. A lot of these guys will likely opt to get 4 fresh Michelin tires. I do believe they're Michelins on these cars, I would imagine so, as this is a look back at that battle that just went on between David Levine and Brandon Webb, and ultimately really just the crash that went on.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have a good look at it. You can see they nearly made contact, the number 59. And then you can see just carrying a bit too much speed. You can see really the difference, just a small touch. David was just carrying way too much speed at that point. You could see, you know, his car just catching up while the number 77 ahead of him was just braking. He caught up way too much, and unfortunately, that just might be race over.
Yeah, pretty much. Just let me have a look at it here. And yeah, David already used his fast repair once from the previous issue in turn 5, and it's going to be the same wall that takes him out of this one. Look at the little battle, and ultimately the contact right there slams into the wall.
That was quite a big hit as well to the wall. I'm quite surprised that he didn't, collapse both suspension. Unfortunately, maybe just one, but I mean, as you mentioned, it's with what, 5 seconds before the caution comes out? That's
If
just
that.
heartbreaking as we have. Yeah, we pretty much have, I'm pretty sure, the whole grid essentially coming down to pit lane, except those drivers that may have already jumped the gun a few laps before. But this is just going to be the race down to pit lane. We're going to see who's going to come out on top. Is it going to be first, second? Is it going to be Brandon Rose? Who knows?
Steve Singer in the pits, looking at him there. Should be tires, yeah, we see Brian Rose going on. Should be tires for most of these guys, but the one driver that I'd imagine won't take tires, well, he is. Andrew Luck. That actually kind of surprises me. Taking tires here, he'll grab 4 new tires. You see Mark Truxell on the jacks as well. He will pull off and away. Brian Rose might lose the lead here. Mark Truxell is absolutely going to nose ahead right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's contested. Brian doesn't want to give it up.
Oh, we're just going to have to wait and see, because I'm pretty sure iRacing will automatically give the position to the driver who's ahead of the exit. That was close. That was a photo finish on the pit exit almost.
Oh, David had another fast repair. Huh. Well, let's take a look back. I want to see a replay of that race out of the pit lane. I am astonished, honestly, that Brian Rose just won the race out of the pits. Actually astonished. So here we are. He's on the jacks there. We might have to wait just a moment for him to actually be dropped down and released from his pit box. But maybe, well, here we go. Mark Truxell's going to leave. Brian Rose right here. Let's slow this down. Absolutely, that should be Mark Truxell's lead. That should... Yeah, there's no arguing that.
Yeah, Mark Truxell was a nose ahead exiting the pit lane. You could see on the Y line. So yeah, we're gonna rewind it here. You could see, yeah, there you go. That's the perfect shot. You could see that the nose of the number 5 was already ahead. Just already crossed. Maybe the number 89 was carrying a bit more speed, but I mean, it's whoever crossed the line first. So I'm pretty sure Truxell should have the race lead. We're gonna confirm that in a minute.
Well, no, it's gonna go Brian Rose. He led the field out of the pit lane, and Truxell didn't pass him. We saw that, but that boggles my mind personally.
Yeah, as well. Where is everybody? Just somehow everybody got lost.
Laps back. Webb and Singer have been sent by the pace car. Vincent Short is working on catching up. Here he is. Timothy George is also working on catching up. Truxell and Locke. Well, Truxell's coming into the pit lane. He had a crash under yellow.
Oh no.
So as if it wasn't bad enough that he got shorted on pit exit, here we go.
Yeah, so that's gonna be, doesn't look like too much damage, maybe just aero damage. So I mean, maybe he just has enough time to even come back at the worst case scenario, 3rd place. As you can see, that is exiting turn 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's Quebec corner. This will be turn 4.
Does he just lose it on Moss corner on his zone? I would be surprised that
he gets in there pretty deep. I saw a little preview of it. Yeah, he gets in pretty deep. That's a David Levine right there.
And that's cold tires as well. That's just has to be cold tires, just carrying normal amount of speed, but the tire is not up to temperature. It's not going to be providing you enough grip. Does he tow back?
No, he did end up driving it back to the pit lane, got back in. We saw him pitting. He has taken a fast repair and is rejoining the field. Brian Rose will continue to lead. This will now put Andrew Locke officially in front of Mark Truxell. Brandon Webb is in the pit lane now. He should sort out into 5th or 4th, one of the two. Singer goes on by, which tells me Brandon should end up 5th. Vincent Short may come around and collect a spot. We shall see. As Brian Rose will continue to lead us under yellow. Safety car lights are still on, which means we are going to take a step aside. We'll go side by side, in fact, from Canadian Tire.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We just saw the field getting gathered up and ready to go back green flag racing, and we'll join them here in turn number 8. JP, this is just a stunning facility. Even in its older kind of state here on the iRacing.com service, it's still just a fantastic racetrack. Loads of fun to race on. It still looks pretty darn good too, even though it's a little behind. I mean, this is a pretty good look at things here. I love this place, and I think that's true for most virtual and real racing drivers. This is just a fan favorite usually. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park is a fantastic little racetrack.
Oh, it absolutely is. It was actually, in fact, my second road track when I joined iRacing. I remember Ferrari 488 GT3 Fixed, I'm pretty sure it was called. This was just my first experience on GT cars. I suffered quite a bit around this racetrack. I lost the car plenty of times on pretty much each and every single corner. But it was a good learning ground. It was one of the best tracks to learn, and well, it's why it's here, I guess. And well, with the pace car coming in, drivers are gonna have another 15 minutes to relearn the track, and well, it's green flag out.
Green flag fly as we get back at it here. Through turn 1, nice. Normally the entire field that's still with us, single file, 7 cars strong, they'll go through Clayton Corner.
Looks like the whole field makes it through safely, at least through turn 1 and 2. Well, looks like Brian Rose is still leading the race, but I mean, he's gonna have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right behind him, so he's gonna have a huge task ahead of him for the remaining 14 minutes of the race. But first, he needs to survive first lap. You know, can he get it slowed down? Can the whole grid actually get it slowed down through Moss Corner? Looks like the leader does it. Oh, Angel Locks as well. Looks like we're going to have a few battles around it, but everybody makes it through. That's a great sign. With 14 minutes to go, it's still a lot to play for.
Mark Truxell leading kind of the further on back group, the kind of rear group of the two, it seems. Steve Singer even falls back a little bit now down the Mario Andretti straight. It does look like David Levine, for whatever reason, is 21 seconds behind these guys still. As Brandon Webb way deep into 8. Fantastic catch.
Oh, that almost looked like Lightning McQueen on the Piston Cup. Somehow he got it slowed down. Absolutely amazing. That's going to be a fantastic shot for later on, but good job for him. Saved that car. You know, the car's still in one piece. As some drivers take the scenic route, throwing that, I guess, puff of smoke to the driver behind him. Well, it's getting kind of racy. Some drivers are taking more risks. One of them, Steve Singer.
What I find interesting is there's 4 Aston Martins in this series, or at least in this race. There are 5 Corvettes. The 4 Aston Martins are all up front. They are the top 4. Brian Rose, Andrew Locke, Mark Truxell, as Truxell's very shallow into Moss. Thankfully, they get that sorted out, and Steve Singer is the other Aston as we're on board with him here. Brandon Webb, that's a Corvette. David Levine, that's a Corvette. Timothy George, that's a Corvette. Vincent Short, that's a Corvette. Will Hewitt, also a Corvette. Now, Vincent Short is parked. I don't know if that's just out of damage or if there's a reason. I'd imagine it's just out of damage. It looks like he might be done for the afternoon. Will Hewitt has already disconnected from today's session, and everybody else continues on. So still 7 cars ripping around Canadian Tire. And this little group up front is going to be a whole lot of fun to watch here in just a moment.
Yeah, this group is going to be fantastic. We're going to have 2 battles developing. Obviously, the battle for the lead between Brian Rose and Andrew Locke. And obviously, this battle for 3rd place, Steve Singer against Mark Truxell. As you can see, Steve is kind of taking it easy through turn 1. He takes a lot easier on the entry, but somehow just every time he just washes a bit too wide on the exit. It might just be applying the throttle a bit too early. Obviously, just might be driver preference. But yeah, he's approaching Mark Truck, so it's going to be the battle between the number 5 and the number 6. It's going to be interesting because this is obviously the battle for the final step of the podium as we switch back to the battle for the lead. Andrew, which one do we follow? Because, I mean, these two, something is going to happen soon between 4 drivers.
Well, they're all nose to tail, and I dare say they'll stay this way with 12 minutes to go. Maybe not. Andrew Locke going to have a look up the right side down the Mario Andretti straight. He's going to draw right along even. Can Truxell say anything about it and help the number 89? No. Brian Rose is going to have to sit back and I think let Andrew Locke have this lead. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Can he hold it around the outside? He tries to just for a tiny little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Unfortunately, he's going to have to yield that position. Looks like Steve Singer also made a move on Mark Truxell. So, well, looks like we had both battles switching up on the exact same corner. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Now, do we have any, I guess, not team orders? Could we have any team orders to maybe get Steve Singer to battle Andrew Locke ahead of him?
No, we won't see any of that. These guys are teammates, but that's about it. It doesn't mean they're going to have any kind of team orders. There's no ulterior motive here. They're just out here to race.
Also, we're going to have a battle for the teammates. We've already had one of those before this race. Obviously, it didn't turn out too well, but I'm pretty sure these two, well, even though they might be smiling and laughing, they're going to take, they're going to be a bit more cautious, I guess, with one another. Obviously, running in second and third place.
Cautious, you say? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, Andrew, I'm having quite a look with my commentator's curse, isn't it? It's back. Wow. It's certainly back, but it's not as back as Steve Singer in second place. Looks like he got the move done somehow on 5C on the exit of Moss Corner. I don't think I've ever seen him move down there, but, well, he definitely made it work.
Brian Rose trying to battle back. This will go to turn 8. Rose on the inside. Singer, oh, look at that. Asserts himself as the leader into that corner, at least of the 2 cars. Takes that away, and he will now move cleanly into second spot. And will have a chance to try and run down Andrew Locke. And I really do mean try. I don't know how you catch that 23 car.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if he has the pace. Obviously, he qualified on pole, but Andrew Locke wasn't allowed to take part in qualifying. So, well, this is the battle of the Titans, isn't it, Andrew? It's going to be interesting to see how these 2 drivers are going to tackle the course and to see who's going to come out on top. Obviously, less than 10 minutes to go. This is pretty much just the last dash of the race. So, everything to play for. It's pretty much all or nothing.
And he's only just gotten this lead, too. Only 2 laps led in this race today. The grid by SimLab number 23 taking off. I mean, he's just been so good, and this is a largely development series for most of the drivers in here, but in the case of the number 23, Andrew Locke, he's here to race. He is here to go win some races and have a bit of fun while doing it. Really no pressure on him. There's no pressure to perform, just go have fun. That's what it's come down to for most of these guys even. And it's been a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoy having these kind of low-pressure series, just allow guys to go race and see what they can do in 45 minutes of action.
Yeah, it's fun, just having that sprint and even having the break on the middle allows everybody to have, another chance of the race. So I guess what they have been doing with the development of the drivers, it really did help. We could see, a lot of these drivers just just developing as... Boy, that was close.
On Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. So now the gap shrinks down to half a second. But as you mentioned, this series just has been developing these drivers so much. We can visually see the progress. And you remember the first race around Daytona? Look at some of those drivers now. It's just a huge jump for them. And obviously, things are only going to get better for them as Andrew Locke once again Andrew Locke locking up the tires a little bit. On the entry of turn 5, and well, looks like that lead might be challenged as we didn't actually think it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by this. I did not foresee that kind of issue for Andrew Locke. He really went wide in turn 1, opened the door for Steve Singer to at least catch up, and now Singer points right to the apex for 8, gets down there, takes an inside line, gains a little bit, but it's going to be tough to hold that throughout 8, 9, 10. It works for now, but can... Oh, yeah, Andrew Locke gets a massive run out of White's corner and pulls right back away.
Yeah, he got a perfect run through essentially the last corner. Kind of increased that gap just on that exit by around 1.5 tenths. But, he's just gonna have to live with the number 6 right behind him. You know, Steve Singer looks like he's not gonna go away anytime soon. You can see 2 different lines being taken into turn 2. The gap shrinks down to 3.5 tenths, 2 tenths right now. So looks like the number 6 Steve Singer has a little bit of paces, especially on the first sector. Now, obviously, he needs to translate that into all 3 sectors if he wants a chance to pass Andrew Locke. But boy, Andrew, 7 minutes to go. Can this move happen soon?
Oh, no!
Yes, it can.
Bit of damage there for Steve Singer as he goes on by. Andrew Locke tries to get back going. He will do so, but loses a lot of time in the process. And we'll get back going somewhere around the
Fifth
the
position.
5th spot, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you can see just how much a mistake can cost you. 7 seconds behind the leader. Both of them made contact with one another. I'm not quite sure if Steve Singer came out with any damage, especially to the rear of his car. But boy, oh boy, a mistake from Andrew Locke. That's something I didn't expect to say tonight.
Yeah, myself either, but that throws the race completely in the can. That opens things up now for Steve Singer. He's got a 1.2 second gap back to his teammate Brian Rose, and I don't anticipate that gap closing without a big mistake here from the number 6 car. And now pressure's off, right? He's got that gap. He can kind of calm down, whereas, of course, Andrew Locke had Steve Singer breathing down his neck, and he had a challenge. So this is perfect case scenario right now for the number 6, even with any damage he might have accumulated from that contact.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point in time, he can do what Brian Rose kind of did on the first few laps, just control the pace. As soon as he gets that gap over, I guess, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, he can just allow himself to push where he feels comfortable and obviously take it easy on some of those corners where he may have made a mistake or knows it's possible to make an easy mistake. But, that gap just keeps on growing. You can see already nearly 1.8 seconds. So, yeah, this should be in the bag, but once again, Andrew, it's Canadian Tire. Something can happen. We weren't expecting to see Andrew Locke, making a mistake, but he did. It looks like Brendan Webb also made a mistake. He's already dropped 4 seconds behind Andrew Locke, so something may have happened with the number 77, but boy, oh boy, I'm still surprised.
Singer's lead growing now to 2 seconds and change. And this is going to change the series pretty drastically. I mean, this is going to give a much larger points lead now to Steve Singer. And Brian Rose, sure, top 3 right now in points, but it's going to be tough to stick with him. And Truxell dropping to 3rd in this race is going to hurt him just a little bit in the point standings as well. So points, they are the conversation. As far as the championship goes, I don't know. If Andrew Locke keeps having these silly little races going wrong for him, I mean, how can you count against Steve Singer? I don't know. They've both had mistakes. They've both kind of gone back and forth in that department, I suppose. But it's just looking so good right now for the number 6, especially with the points advantage he already has. Yeah,
absolutely. Andrew Locke obviously came to this race as the previous round winner. He was 32 points behind Steve Singer. That win was going to help him a lot in the championship, but unfortunately that mistake, well, he's just going to be costing him. He's going to be finishing behind Brian Rose and Mark Truxell, which, are 2nd and 3rd place on the championship. So he's going to be losing points to all his competitors ahead of him. So, just unfortunate that it happened. Obviously, when we look, to Brian Rose, obviously he's going to be going, at least for the time being, ahead of Mark Truxell, so he's going to be getting a few points on his championship rival. Not quite sure it was a lapped car, wasn't it? George.
That's Tim George with an issue in turn 1. Drops on back, just got a little bit of right side damage, and it looks like that right front is pretty bent. Maybe even the right rear. He's crabbing a good bit. He's having to really wrestle that car as he works on down Clayton Corner. And we'll try and just lap back around here and finish this race. It's only going to go 3.5 more minutes. And, sideways there in Quebec. He might decide that that's it. He'll continue on for now. So I certainly appreciate soldiering on through that. I really do appreciate that in a driver. Looks like maybe David Levine with issues as well.
Yeah, the good thing is he's soldiering on, as you mentioned, but on a safe speed as well. It's nice seeing someone, obviously, knowing that they have issues, just letting everybody go past. Now we switch on to Mark Truxell, who actually made a move on Brian. Yeah. So my commentator's curse strikes once again. Andrew, looks like, well, some drivers might hate me after, this week because he has just been on point. But yeah, looks like Brian Rose may have made a mistake. He's going to be falling under pressure from Andrew Locke maybe towards the final lap of the race. They're only separated by less, around 1.2 seconds. You can see they're visually close to one another. So, well, looks like what was once set up to be an easy second place, at least a battle through second place, we might see Brian Rose outside of the podium finishing position.
2 minutes to go, and it's a 2-second gap between these two. This is for third. Singer's now got 5 seconds of Truxell. Truxell's got an ample amount of time himself to Brian Rose, as that number 89 has got a little bit of left rear damage, I'd imagine, maybe in turn 5 last time through. Might have had an issue as he's dropping. He's now only got a second or so back to Andrew Locke. This might come closer than I thought. We're inside of 2 minutes to go. This should be probably 2 to go this time for each of these guys. Steve Singer, let's see, where is he about? He's at a turn 10 now. Lap times are checking in at a minute 14 thereabouts. Yeah, this should be 2 to go.
Yeah, so 2 to go, Steve Singer. Well, there we go. Yeah,
113.
Yeah, that's a huge gap. I'm pretty sure the fastest lap was before it was 114.0, 114.1. So, I mean, that's pretty much a qualifying lap right there. So he's taking risks. I wasn't expecting that with 2 laps to go. I was going to take a little bit easier myself, just...
In fairness,
maybe even allowing...
Fuel has burned off, tires have burned off, and now you get to kind of relax a little bit and just, go and run those laps.
Yeah, absolutely, obviously, but, I mean... Still, that's taking chances, especially considering you made a mistake on lap 1. But that's confidence right there. That's good, actually. That's a good showing of confidence that you just trust yourself and trust your car. As we do have, looks like a small mistake outside of turn 5. I'm not quite sure. Couldn't really catch who that was, unfortunately, spinning around. But the gap between these two is definitely shrinking. Andrew Locke definitely has the pace over Brian Rose. Can the move happen soon enough before the checkered flag?
That's a great question. We should get the white flag here in just a moment, presented by Tucson Sound Art. Almost nose to tail to turn 8, these two go. And Rose a little bit deep, had a bit of a bobble there in 8. Now through 9, you can see how close these two are. This is the best battle on the racetrack, the only battle on the racetrack, really. Nose to tail, door to door, they'll go. White flag presented by Tucson Sound Art for these two. This is battling for third. Rose turns in, almost collects the left front of that number 23, gets back in front of Andrew Locke.
That was confident from Brian Rose that Andrew Locke was going to back off. Kind of dangerous move, but, well, he did it. He's still in third place. You could see the run that Andrew Locke got on, I guess, exiting turn 5. He just got way better of a run, especially around the S's. So, looks like the advantage might be on Andrew Locke. He just seems to be confident. As we mentioned, it just might be all or nothing. I'm pretty sure if something happened, they'll finish on this position.
Challenge here, around the outside. He's going to try.
Yeah. Can he make him work? Well, he's going to be setting him up. Look at the exit right now. He's just going to have a better exit. If something's going to happen, it's going to be around the S. As you can see, the 23 visually closing. And, well, they might just go side by side. As you can see, oh, my God. Who's going to go? Well, he's going to be forced around the outside. Yeah, there you go.
Andrew Locke on the outside for turn 8, sits back behind him. Up ahead, Steve Singer's collecting the win. This is the best battle, though. To turn 9, Locke surges right to the apex. Now the inside for Brian Rose. So controversial of a turn 10, and there we go, contact! And Andrew Locke is around. We've seen that be controversial for ARCA, K&N, whatever, NASCAR, with the Truck Series. Yeah, that's turn 10 at Canadian Tire for you. Congratulations. While that was all happening, certainly goes to Steve Singer. A fantastic race win, but my goodness, what a finish for third.
Absolutely amazing. I was kind of expecting that to happen. As soon as I saw Brian Rose holding it around the outside of turn number 9, I thought, okay, a dive bomb is definitely coming around turn 10. And boy, oh boy, did it happen. That's a racing move. You just have to go for it. Sometimes he may have just gotten a bit better of a run, and, well, the contact was made. Wow, what a finish of this race.
Properly fantastic stuff for Steve Singer. Properly fantastic. Gets the race win. A great finish behind, but I really just want to give all the props in the world to Steve Singer. We've seen him make a lot of mistakes, and he has been very vocal about it before. But to rally tonight and keep his head cool, especially while challenging Andrew Locke there late in the race, forcing the mistake out of the number 23, props certainly goes to the driver of the number 6 tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What a comeback run, especially when you think what happened in turn one.
Yeah.
You know, at that point in time, it's pretty much, well, it's race over. You know, you just turn one, you're already a lap down. So, but I mean, that's just perseverance. You know, just getting you through it, keeping your head down, just posting your lap times, running your own race, and well, he collected everything that he could from this race. Started first, went out to last place, and well, back to first again.
They'll stop on the front stretch of their podium pictures, but man, we would be doing things wrong if we didn't go back and look at this epic last lap battle. That's the white flag. Side by side to one they went, lock on the inside, bobbled in turn one, and then just works to set him up the entire rest of the lap.
Yeah, because that just absolutely set it up. I know we mentioned that 23 just had, you know, just more confidence. You can see, you could feel that Brian Rose was just kind of feeling the pressure. As you can see, you know, Andrew Locke just absolutely pushing the limits, I guess, of that Aston Martin. You can see just, you know, the racing line just seems to be a little bit better. And then, well, they come down into turn 5. That's where the move was set up. That's where everything was planned. You can see just how confident he was on the brakes. He got the, you know, just his brakes working so much better. Then he just takes a wider line, cuts back in, just gets a better exit, even with a slight little bit of wiggle on the back end of that Aston Martin, even with the damage, and then just, you know, just take the slipstream. Brian Rose went very defensive to guarantee that that move.
But this
not
is
gonna
the right
happen.
move.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He like, the way these corners switch up, you've got the inside here for 8, then the outside for 9. So sure, that opens the move up for Andrew in 9. You see exactly that, but this is the right move for turn 10. You've got to make sure you're on the inside in 10. And oh man, that Brian might have got in a little bit deep, but at least on entry, he is fully to the right. We'll take another look at things, and I really think he might have hopped the curb a little bit on entry there into 10, but regardless, he made the right move. He did the right thing as far as preserving his race and trying to win, not win, but take third place here if you're Brian Rose. This is another look at things. This is to turn 8, the end of the Mario Andretti straightaway. And again, I don't know that he was necessarily thinking about it, but if he was, proper heads-up move here to make sure he's got the inside for 2 of the 3 corners remaining.
No, absolutely. At that point, I'm pretty sure. Well, you can see first turn 10. You can see, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he just carries a bit too much speed. The 23 gives him plenty of room, but unfortunately, I guess just, you know, just it's a last lap move. You know, you're just fighting for that final spot of the podium, fighting for the spot essentially, and unfortunately that happened. But yeah, as you mentioned, you can see down here, you know, you just have to go defensive. There's no point in yielding the inside line to another driver. You know, even if you're thinking about the long term, you know, just, if you can just hold it your own around here, then obviously turn 9, just switch it back, just press the gas pedal. You don't need the racing line. But as around here, that's gonna be the debating point. You know, did he carry too much speed? Did he use the 23 essentially to slow him a bit down? You know, that's just gonna be, I guess, the talking point until next race.
Let's see if we can get another look at things, maybe a better look at things from higher up, potentially. This might work, actually. This might show us if Brian misses the corner. He's initially quite far to the right and does his best to keep far to the right, stays almost to the right of that seam there on the concrete, well, on the asphalt, stays pretty far right as the corner opens up, kind of drifts out. That's trivial. That is very, you could argue back and forth on that one, I think, all day long. I think that's just good racing coming to a precipice at Canadian Tire, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, as you mentioned, you know, just something that happens around Canadian Tire. How many times we had that happen in real life? You know, just
watch any NASCAR Truck Series race here, you'll see it happen.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, I saw the one time I saw it was on a Truck Series. I'm glad you mentioned that. But yeah, this is just, you know, a move being made to preserve your, I guess, your spot. And you know, the 23 just, you know, he just turns in because he's on the outside lane. He has to, you know, fortunately contact, you know, it's just, I guess it's just racing. We kind of need Julian Palmer's analysis, just like he does on F1, so we can have the verdict. But I mean, what a race overall, Andrew. This was absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic stuff this evening. And I even mentioned I felt like this would be a pretty good race today here for the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Challenge, and it absolutely was. Fantastic stuff through and through. We'll take a step aside. We'll be right back to you with post-race coverage then from round number 6 of 10 in the SCAR Grid Sports Car Championship. It was a whole lot of fun. Steve Singer with the win, Mark Truxell second, Brian Rose third. We'll be talking to each of them here in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. We promised post-race coverage. That's exactly what we've got. As I mentioned, the entire top 3 from this evening's outing at Canadian Tire is ready to kind of give their own side of things. And I'm very much looking forward to speaking with Brian Rose here in just a few moments. But first, of course, we have got to talk with our race winner this evening from the virtual Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We'll bring in that of Steve Singer. And Steve, we were talking about heartburn earlier in the night. It seems like you gave some of that heartburn to Andrew Locke, forcing that mistake and ultimately for the race win.
Yeah, I gave myself some heartburn at the outset here, first lap. One of the guys, hey, I got a black flag on the start, and like an idiot into one, I looked down at the black box and forget to turn the wheel. I thought there was no way I was going to be anywhere near the top 3 by the end of the night, but we talked about mistakes the last race and made one right off the bat.
But you were able to kind of recalibrate, recoup, and get back after it. Talk about that halfway break and how important that was to your race today.
Well, the halfway break, I mean, typically we don't take tires, but a couple of guys were like, well, it's a yellow flag, you might as well. There's hardly anybody on the lead lap, just go ahead and take them. So I took tires. My main intent was, okay, maybe I'll finish top 5 and I can shoot for fastest lap the rest of the race, but we all kind of got caught up. We had a top 4 battle there for a little while, and then it was me and Andrew, and a little bit too much rear brake in it for Andrew going into the hairpin, and around he went.
So it's a race win then with 7 laps led after a pretty dismal start. But this really opens up the rest of the season. You come in with the points lead, and it's only going to further assert the number 6 atop the point standings. How do you approach then the rest of these races? Montreal in a couple of weeks, then Monza, and a couple of trips out to California.
Montreal is going to be a huge challenge. That's kind of why I wanted it on the schedule to begin with. It's a fun track. I wouldn't say that I'm great at it. I think the guys that run road more than anything else are going to prevail here. Again, I do pretty well at the road side of things, even though I'm kind of an oval guy, but that is not one of the places that I run great at. So we're just going to look for a solid finish. Of course, I'll probably overdrive it at some point and stuff it into a tire barrier, but we'll use that as our throwaway, I guess, even though Barber wasn't that great either. So I got to throw one of those away.
And this being kind of a developmental series, does that change how you approach any of these races, how you approach any of these drivers, even some of these battles?
Not really. I mean, you look at guys like Mark Truxell, for instance. I mean, he's an oval guy, but even coming into this season, he's got some experience in the road cars just because he enjoys it. I mean, it's just kind of like a hobby. Absolutely. And just running the series, he shows up on a regular, and it's proving that running the laps makes you better at this, and it's certainly paying off for Mark for sure.
Yeah, the brake management, having to work with the TC, and just this overall balance of a race car, I think is going to help, especially with these next gens on the way for NASCAR and the NASCAR Cup Series. Buddy, it's been great talking to you, great watching you go out there and collect another win. This means you got to start from the rear at Montreal, but best of luck to you here in a couple weeks' time.
All right, Andrew, thanks again. Excellent broadcast, as always. Really appreciate your work.
Hey, appreciate you having us here. It's been a whole lot of fun each and every race. We'll see you next time. Steve Singer, nice little quick talk there, and just always good to talk to Steve, I feel like, especially when he has a little more reason to be happy, right? Not so much reason to be upset with the day, as he has been a couple of times. Certainly disappointment at Mid-Ohio, I think, stands out, but a really solid race win today, and shows that he can put a race together and will put a race together. Next up, the driver who won that outing at Mid-Ohio, it is the number 5 of Mark Truxell.
Mark, I mean, what a race! I guess you could mention, at one point you were fighting for a win. At another point, you were fighting for 3rd place, and then you find yourself on 2nd place. I mean, talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense battle here and there throughout the night, and I just had to keep my head down really and chase down Brian. And once the fast guys caught me, I knew there wasn't no chance of holding them up. So mainly, I just had to chase Brian, and then he made the fatal mistake there at the end of the race, and I was able to capitalize.
Absolutely, sometimes that's all you need to do, and especially in a tricky track around this, like this, we saw plenty of drivers making mistakes left, right, and center, lap 1, lap 10, you name it. I mean, but you, for the whole races, except that time under the caution period, you kept your car clean. Talk us through what happened during that incident on the caution.
I got my mouse right here next to my steering wheel, and I bumped the power cord, and my wheel went dead for a second. So I'm glad I didn't tear it up, or I couldn't drive back to the pits. So yeah, I hated doing that.
Oh, that's just heartbreaking. We thought it was just just a mistake somehow carrying too much speed. That just, it hurts even more. Steve Singer kind of had I guess, a similar mistake, but he just kind of looked away for a second. But yeah, I mean, even with that mistake, you had a good pace. You just kept your car clean throughout the race. And as we talked to Steve Singer, you've just been a regular on the show. How do you feel you've evolved so far in this series?
I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I just wish we had a higher car count. It's kind of hard to get to racing with people if there's only a couple handfuls of cars. But other than that, yeah, I love the road courses. Just get in plenty of practice before each race.
Oh, there you go. That's sometimes all you need, just a little bit of practice. Obviously, good luck also helps. And with that, this first race of the year, how do you prepare for next run around Gilles Villeneuve?
Just about the same way I prepare for all the other ones. Just try to get the laps in and try to find my rhythm and braking points and what gears to be in and such. Because sometimes if you overdo it, it really costs you.
Well, absolutely. I'm going to thank you for your time. Before I let you go, who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out?
I'd really like to thank you guys for the broadcast. You guys do an awesome job. And Steve for putting on the series, and all the guys for racing clean. I want to thank my daughter, Little Tate's Cupcakes, which she's not on the race car yet, but I just want to congratulate her on her new bakery, and y'all can check her out on Facebook.
Oh, absolutely appreciate it. Everybody's going to be excited to check her out on Facebook. With that being said, Mark, I'm going to wish you a happy, start of the week starting tomorrow. And, I hope I can talk to you around next round around Gilles Villeneuve.
Oh, yeah, I hope to talk to you guys then, but hoping to be on top box then.
Well, we hope to. And with that, Andrew, that was Mark Truxell, our second place finisher. And, fantastic round for him. Kept his nose clean throughout the race. And, I'm going to be passing you through for the third place finisher, Brian Rose.
And Brian Rose certainly got third place in exciting Canadian Tire fashion. Brian, let's get right to it. Final corner. After 45 minutes of racing, a little bit of contact there. What happened?
Oh, yeah. Hey, talk to Andrew right there. He said, that was just hard racing. I had no intentions on getting into him right there. If that wasn't coming to the checkered flag, I don't race that way, and that wouldn't happen. But hey, a podium's a podium, and when it's right there, 500 feet away, you got to go for it. You got to leave everything out, especially as fast as he is. He'll definitely be up there on a podium probably next week.
Especially with the way he drove back up to you. He certainly is the guy to beat in this series. So if you can stay wheel to wheel like you just did, that's got to feel pretty darn good. It was a really good day for you. 22 laps led, showed a lot of strength, maybe a couple of falters, but really a good day and a lot, I think, to build on. We talk about this being a developmental series. How has that treated you so far this season?
Well, I mean, you say developmental series, and that's exactly what this is. A whole host of oval guys, including myself, never really getting on the curvy roads until this series. I do enjoy it. It's something to build on and get better at. And I feel like if you look at my results from, race one to now, I'm only improving. 22 laps led tonight. Due in part to some mishaps in the field, but hey, we'll take it. We'll move forward. Hey, that's the third podium in 2 races, so it looks good.
And we've got now 4 races left, a little ways past halfway through the season, especially now into 2022. How do you approach these last 4 races and make a push for the points?
You know what? Steve and Andrew are definitely top of the field, and Mark, he's definitely coming into his own here. He's really good. He was on my rear end all night long, chasing me down. Going forward, you just got to put the laps in. You got to look at the data. Fortunately, I got some really good teammates out there that I can go back and I can look at the data and compare and get better. I know we got a real tough track coming up. Just got to get out, log laps, and that's what it's really all about to get faster.
We've got 4 more opportunities to go and grab that first win of the season. Best of luck to you in doing so, Brian. We'll see you next time out at Montreal.
All right, guys, I appreciate it, and thank you, PitStop TV and SCAR Grid Engineering Road Course Challenge here. You guys are great. Popple, HBR TV, HBR team, everybody that makes this go around. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely appreciate you too. You make it happen out there in the driver's seat. Brian Rose, 22 laps led on the evening. A really, really solid day for him. A look at the results here for all 10 drivers that made it out to Canadian Tire. Unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier on, no Sean Hawkins there, JP, but this is a look at the rest of the results.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately we couldn't get Sean to race. Fortunately, we only had a 9-car grid, but I mean, Ninja, this is kind of just a 3-man show throughout the night. It wasn't a 4-man show, actually. I mean, those top 4 were just, just ahead of the field. We can mention, obviously, Steve Singer doing an amazing comeback race. Mark Truxell just keeping his nose clean, guaranteed the 2nd place. Brian Rose, unfortunately, fell through the pressure. Finished 3rd, ahead of Andrew Locke with that final pass move. Andrew, obviously, starting from last place, coming down to 4th. Absolutely amazing job for him. Almost had the win at one point, but unfortunately made a small mistake on Moss corner. And David Levine was our the final driver, essentially, to finish a lap down. The only lap driver to finish a lap down in 5th place. Also a great race for him. A good pace, good pace.
And from there, the laps down kind of ascend to Tim George at 2 laps down, Vincent Short at 3, and Brandon Webb at 4. Will Hewitt and Sean Hawkins do not make it to the end of the race. I don't think Brandon Webb quite made it to the end of the race either. I think he unfortunately had a bit of an early exit at 4 laps down, just a couple of laps to go. But it's good to see a couple of new names there on the results. Good to see David and Tim sticking around, and hopefully they do so for the remaining 4 races. It would be quite unfortunate not to see them there in the field at Montreal, especially. I know they'll enjoy Montreal, and of course on to Monza, Laguna Seca, and Sonoma. That actually kind of turns me over to our next point, the rest of the schedule. I think there's a whole lot of reason to tune in, and again, just like we've said previous weeks, and like these drivers are saying a little bit, we need more cars. If you want to get into this kind of thing, GT1 cars on some of the best road courses in the world, there's a lot of reason to do so, and still time to do so. All you've got to do, you can go ahead and email me directly if you want at andrew@pitstoptv.com, and I'll get you in contact with Steve Singer to make it all happen. Really solid series, and I think there's already plans for future iterations to hopefully bring in some more drivers, and hopefully those come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see, obviously these tracks are amazing, just stepping it up, maybe even taking more difficult race cars and more difficult race tracks to really improve. Obviously, may just take a little bit easier as well. But, a full grid would really help out these cars, these guys just, evolving, racecraft, race conditions, who to race, who not to race. We know that these drivers have that, that mindset. We were talking to Mark Truxell, he just said, the faster drivers just caught up to me, just might as well let them go. There's no point in fighting. So racecraft mentality has already been building into this. So if you're a driver looking to upgrade, essentially take your road course knowledge to the next level, I guess this might just be the series for you.
A lot of great racing left to go. 45 minutes each at Montreal, Circuit Gilles, Villeneuve, of course, Monza, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and Sonoma Raceway. We got some upcoming broadcasts here at PitStop TV, much like the upcoming races for the rest of the SCAR season. Here's a look at the upcoming week for us. This isn't everything we have in the upcoming week because we have a double with British Sim Racers, but let's get down into it. Of course, tomorrow night, Monday evening, we've got the BRPI Racing Series Big Block Modifieds at Volusia Speedway Park for the 2nd time this season. First time we're going to a track twice in one season. So I think that's actually going to have a lot to build on, some familiarity for those drivers, and I think a way for them to kind of get back into a nice track that they know and can work with in a proper manner. Then 8 p.m. UK time, we've got, on Tuesday that is, we've got the British Sim Racers MX5 Tuesdays, as they call it. It's going to be a lot of fun with those guys. Donington Park was a blast in more ways than one, as they kind of had a few blasts amongst each other, swapping paint, and certainly a bit of damage in the pit lane, but it was great stuff. It really properly great stuff. Side-by-side racing the entire day, and we've got 4 races for each of those rounds. 4 races. Can you believe that? So, perfect reason to tune in for BSR MX-5s. And then you see Nork right back in the lineup. Tuesday evening, we've got the second annual Nork Classic that was just announced on the Nork iRacing Series Facebook page and YouTube page right in time for New Year's. Literally on January 1st, I do believe might have been December 31st. Regardless, right for New Year's, we got word that yes, we have some Nork racing throughout the course of January. We will have 5 events with the Nork iRacing Series as a nice little last hurrah, as they even put it. We got the Nork Classic this coming Tuesday. Then a week later, it is ARCA cars. The older ARCA cars used to be K&N cars, used to even be nationwide cars before that. The ARCA cars will be going to Daytona. Specifically, I should back up. The Nork Classic is the 1987 NASCAR Cup cars, the Monte Carlo and the Thunderbird. So that's where the name Classic comes from, of course. The ARCA cars then in another week's time. Then we even have a truck race coming up for 100 laps, a NASCAR Xfinity car race for 120, and the full-length Norktona 500. I believe that is set for February 1st. Don't quote me on that just yet, but I do believe that is set for February 1st. So I guess technically throughout January and February, but it really is just January. Of course, we do have BSR TC doubling up right there with the BSR MX-5s on Thursday. Then later in the week, that will kind of be that'll be our last show of the week, and then we'll wrap back around, do it all over again. So a lot of reason to tune in. And I should have mentioned, JP, that's not Brands Hatch Full Course, that's Brands Hatch Indy for BSR this week, the British Sim Racers. Makes it even shorter, makes it a lot more congested, a lot more fun for us, but maybe even a little more chaotic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just gonna be wild to see that amount of cars. I mean, that grid is absolutely stacked, so it's gonna be an interesting challenge. It was definitely fun. Last week around Donington Park is definitely gonna be tons of fun around Brands Hatch. And obviously, you can't really miss it. I mean, you can't really miss any of these broadcasts we're going to have, Andrew. And obviously, you can follow us and follow those broadcasts on each and every single social media possible. On Facebook.com/PitStop TV, you can definitely follow us there for live updates and even live streams. Twitter.com as well, Twitter.com/PitStop TV_. And Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV for information, car spotlights, amazing pictures, and everything else. And obviously our live coverage on YouTube and Twitch at youtube.com/pitstoptv1.
We will be back with you tomorrow evening, but for now, that is it from the virtual Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. It's been a lot of fun up here in the virtual Bowmanville, Ontario. Always is with the SCAR Grid Sports Car Championship, always is with these GT1 cars, and yeah, just I think an enjoyable way to spend some Sunday evenings throughout the fall and winter here now into 2022. Want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening, joining us for coverage of this race, round number 6 of 10. And for all of PitStop TV, JP Costa alongside myself, Andrew Cardinale IV, want to thank you once again for tuning in and supporting PitStop TV. We cannot wait to see you next time. Again, it's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, the BRPI Racing Series. Make sure you're there.